we are now talking to Baylor football offensive guard recruit Tate Williams. What's going on, Tate?
How you doing? I'm doing all right.
How are you? I heard you're on vacation over there. Where'd you go?
We went to Port Aransas, Texas. We went down there and hang out on the beach for a little bit. Big 4-2-8 starts this year, but we had a good time. I think we stayed 4 days down there, and it was worth it. It was a lot of fun.
How are you and your family doing with this pandemic?
We're getting by. We've managed to get away with it. None of us got a hold of it yet, but I mean, none of it's over. So just keep up the precautions, and I mean, you know, we go on vacation. We still wearing masks and sanitizing everywhere. So, but we're staying healthy.
Now, we've asked a lot of these different recruits this same question. What made you decide to go to Baylor? When coach came to you with some of the recruiting assistant coaches came talk to you and your family, what persuades you to take Baylor out of all the other teams that were recruiting you?
Well, you know, it was mainly the relationship I built with a lot of the coaches and even some of the players on the team. Especially James Blanchard. He went off to the Panthers with Coach Rule, but he was really one of the deciding factors in my opinion. And then Coach McGuire and Coach Wickline, all three of those guys were big, played a big part in my decision, as well as the academics that Baylor provides. And it's a great degree, and I think is best for my path that I'm going to take.
I'm sure, obviously, you watch a lot of Big 12 football being in Texas, so that you always know that they've always been an offensive conference for the most part. All the offensive numbers are always inflated. As an offensive lineman, did that sway your decision to join Baylor over maybe other teams from other conferences?
Well, I mean, I've really never watched a whole lot of football, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a farm kid, so I work a lot, and I mean, I just kind of watch football if I ever have time to. And I've never watching football has never really been a big deal for me. It's just I enjoy playing it.
We are talking to Baylor football offensive guard recruit Tate Williams. Now, knowing that Coach Rule went to Carolina, did that possibly persuade you to maybe look at another school, maybe decide to take your talent somewhere else, or you wanted to stay over there at Baylor and see what you can do over there at Baylor?
Well, I never talked to Coach Rule over the phone, and I never had a conversation with Coach Rule. So, I mean, his leaving really didn't change much for me. And, you know, even though they had a very successful season last year, Coach Aranda is going to be as good or even better, in my opinion. He's a great coach coming from a great program at LSU, and I feel like he's going to do big things at Baylor.
The Texas football culture is definitely one of the best in the nation. They go all out for high school football. They have these big stadiums for a lot of the championship games for high school football. And now you're going to probably the second most best school in terms of college football after Texas in terms of well-known identity. Obviously, this year there might not be any fans. It probably won't be any fans. But what do you expect for college football going forward in terms of the culture, the atmosphere in Texas and throughout the Big 12?
Well, I'm expecting to have a full season this year. You know, I've seen a lot of schedule changes so far, especially with high school football. But the fans do play a big part, especially in Texas football. I go to a 3A school, and we have a packed house almost every Friday night. Anywhere we go, fans come with us. I mean, it's a really big deal, and I think it'd change a lot of things if fans weren't allowed to be there. And I mean, it'd kind of be a different atmosphere in general.
Tate, the name Tate is. I remember when I think of Tate, the Tate movie that I used to watch when I was a kid, it was Little Man Tate, and I think of the name Tate. It's like a small man, but you're a big, large man. You're an offensive tackle. You work on the farms. You're a farm boy. What is it like playing the position as an offensive lineman? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses at the position?
Well, so some of the strengths I view on myself is I'm quick. I may not be the strongest guy out there, but I mean I can move my weight well, in my opinion, and I'm quick, and I've got a decent pad level. I'm good at staying low. I'm good at getting under people. Something that I probably need to work on is pass protection. We run a wishbone triple option style offense, and so we don't have an actual pass set, and we may pass 4 to 5 times a game, and the rest of the time it's just stay low and get on the ground and get people off the line of scrimmage and get 2 or 3 yards of play, and that's our style of offense.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Getting to know the pass protection style of offense is going to be new for me, and I'm going to have to be something I'm going to have to work on.
So we were talking about the size, and I was saying you're one of the biggest guys, obviously, on your high school football team. I looked at your physique. You're 6'4", 264, according to 24/7 Sports. So it's obviously big for high school football, but for an offensive lineman in general, it's on the smaller side. But you were mentioning how quickness is a big deal now, and we're seeing football, both college and NFL, shift to more exotic type offenses. Do you see those types of smaller, quicker linemen that are maybe in the 300, low 300s, or even the 290 range taking over?
Yeah, I think so. And from what I've been hearing from some of these other coaches, is that's what they're looking for, is the smaller, more athletic linemen that aren't just dead weight. I mean, they want linemen that can move and linemen that can get around, because and I think the football game itself is evolving, especially in the trenches. You look at these new D tackles and D ends; they're getting faster and they're getting quicker and more lean, I guess. And you have to combat that. You've got to have offensive linemen that can move with them. So, in my opinion, I think that's going to be where the game goes in the next couple of years.
We are talking to Baylor football offensive guard recruit Tate Williams. Tate, knowing that Baylor, if there is a season, Baylor is probably not going to have fans, and a lot of these young players, these recruits, wanted to experience the fan and the fans and really everything, the build up to the game. What is your thoughts to moving forward with this season, if there is a season, playing at Baylor?
Well, I mean, I think the build up to the do what?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. The build up to the game is a big part of it, but I think it all comes down to who comes out ready to play. More or less, just the team itself builds up enough hype, and I think that'll be the deciding factor on who comes out ready to play and who's more worried about what's going on in the bleachers.
Of the Big 12 opponents that you will be facing, which one are you most looking forward to facing, and why?
Oklahoma State, OU. I did watch that game last year. Baylor lost to OU and in overtime, losing the Big 12 championship. And that's something I think that'd be quite the comeback, and got a little burden or a grudge against them. So come back and take that win against OU.
Tate, I look at, going down south, going out west to the farmlands. I've done this. We live in Long Island. If you go out west, there's a lot of farms, there's a lot of cows, there's a lot of horses. And one of my favorite things to do out east is cow tipping. Have you ever cow tipped before? And if you have, how many times have you done it?
Well, I've never been cow tipping. We really don't. We don't have many cows, but we feed out cows and we butcher and process all of our own meat. We've got our own setup down at our place. But we do sell. My sister and I grow watermelons in the summer. We've got 2 acres of watermelons that we grow from seed and sell them at the markets during the summer. And we normally sell for anywhere around 1,000 melons every summer.
Wow.
Between.
Wow, look at you, man. You're an entrepreneur.
Just don't mix the meat and the watermelon together, then you'll end up with some gross combinations.
Well, hold on one second. You can have meat before you have watermelon. Watermelon
No,
would
I
be
meant
dessert.
at the same time.
Well, who would do that except you, Speedy?
No, I wouldn't. I'm telling him not to do that.
I think he's smart enough not to do that.
Okay, I'm the one that's mixture picky.
Oh, my God.
So, in addition to football, you also were recruited for track at Baylor as well. And how do you think that's going to help your football game, maybe even vice versa, in terms of the skills of different track events? Obviously, if you're one of the javelin throwers or discus, one of those, I don't know what you end up doing with that. How do you think those skills help your football game?
So, throwing the shot and disc, I'm a spinner in both of them, and the technique for both shot and disc requires a lot of footwork, a lot of technique drills, and it definitely helps with footwork and being able to know where your feet are, keeping your feet under you. It takes a lot of patience, especially with the discus. I mean, it's a very technical sport, contrary to what many people think. You can't just show up and throw it. I mean, it takes a lot of time and effort to practice that, and I think it correlates directly to footwork on the offensive line as well. And I believe that it'll be beneficial to me on the football field.
Well, Tate, I want you to show me how to throw those discs so I can throw Speedy a little bit a long way, because sometimes he just bugs the hell out of me on this show. And I want to throw him. So I actually have this big, huge fly swatter beside me, and I usually smack him in the back of the head during the live show. It's really, really funny, but it's about the size of his head. So it's one of those big fly swatters. So if you ever need to use it, I'll send it to you over there your way so you can use it with Baylor.
There you go.
There you go. I mean, I'm trying to help you here. As you guys know, we are talking to Baylor football offensive guard recruit Tate Williams. Now, looking at the offensive position and the position and your style of game, you're fast, you're strong. When you look at the NFL style of game and you look at some of these offensive linemen like Speedy was talking about, where some of them are like 364 pounds, 6'6", 6'7", that can run the 40 in 5 seconds flat. Do you see yourself as an NFL style of player? Do you see yourself in the future playing in the NFL, or you're just doing it for the college education and the growth of Baylor football?
Well, I mean, if the opportunity does present itself, it'd be a great deal to go play in the league. But I still got another year of high school and 4 or 5 more years of college to get through without getting hurt, or see if I'm tired of it yet. But I think it'd be a big deal if I do get that opportunity, and I'd be willing to take it. But I got a long way to go before then.
Good. Maybe we can add you to the Jets offensive line because they need all the help they can get.
Sir?
I said maybe we can add you to the Jets offensive line in the near future. We need all the help we can get.
So going back to the football and track thing, two-sport athletes just in general, we're seeing it become more of a dying art, even in youth sports and even in high school. We're seeing a lot of sports coaches now, they want to focus on being specialists. We interview a lot of baseball prospects that said all they do is play baseball and pitch and stuff like that. And again, I'm sure the same thing happens with football. Do you think the two-sport athletes returning in college or even in high school levels, but especially in college because that's where it's really fading away, could ever become a good trend again?
Well, I mean, I think so, depending on whether or not it's the same sport, because, I mean, I played 3 sports in high school. I played football, basketball, and I throw shot and disc. But, once you get to college, I think in high school it's a good thing to play multiple sports. So you have that, you're using different muscles to do different things all the time, so you're just overall becoming a better athlete. But once you get to the collegiate level, whatever you choose, I think you should stick with. Track is kind of its own thing because it's not really a technical specialist sport unless you're in any of the field events. And so like running or whatnot, it goes along with football. Like a lot of football players do run track too, just because they're fast. Like a lot of running backs will run the 100 or the 200 or the 400. I mean, they've got that quick burst of speed. But, like playing basketball and football at the same time really doesn't work out in college.